Alright, so in my last video on the Chevy horns, I showed you what the problem was. I'll link to that in the description. But it's really easy to fix. Basically, we use a steering wheel puller, pop the steering wheel off. We're going to use this lock spring plate depressor tool to pop the lock spring out. So all this does is it screws on the shaft with the steering wheel. I lost the pin, so I'm just using a screw. This piece goes in here with this bar, and as you tighten this down, it'll push that bar into this plate and it'll release tension on that circlip there. So now that we have released tension, we can release that clip, then we can unscrew this and that'll kind of come out. And you have to be careful. You want to pull everything out straight so you don't break off any of these plastic tabs or anything. So I'm going to pop this clip out, slide that thing off, and I will get right back at it. Alright, so lock ring is loose. It's just kind of there. And now, when I undo this, we can see that plate is now sliding past that. I'll just unscrew that just to make sure we have clearance to slide by. Careful not to lose this. And there we go. Get it by the plastic there. All right. So here's the actual problem with these Chevy horns. This little ring here is supposed to go on here. And it touches this little tab so it can actually rotate freely and still make contact. This tab is super worn out. There's nothing left of it. It's way too short, so I have to add a glob of solder to there or take this apart and replace that tab. But I think I'm just going to try to add a glob of solder because really I just need to increase it like a 1/16 of an inch at most, just the tiniest little bit. And as this ring goes around, it'll actually touch it again. And then your horn will work. All you're doing when you shove the when you do all the stretch out the spring and add stuff to here and do all that, all you're doing is you're trying to push against this plate harder to push it out to close that gap. So you're not actually fixing the problem or diagnosing it properly. All you're doing is trying to compensate for this worn out pin here. Alright, so I'm not using flux or anything like that. I'm just kind of gonna heat it up so it'll actually accept the dab, and hopefully this works well. With this, should have taken this plastic guard off the bottom. Probably would have helped a bunch. Oh yeah. It's sticking to there plenty nicely. And I think that'll do it. I think we got it first try. We can see we've pretty much added another half of its length on a nice point there. And I do believe that is going to contact the ring very well. So that piece actually did accept the solder very nicely. You want to make sure to heat it up enough where the solder actually sticks to it and not just lays on top of it. So I think we're good there. All right, well, I'm in here. Here's actually another interesting little tidbit. Another reason for this plate is you see all these little holes in here. This is actually your steering wheel lock. So while the key is in the off position or out, we have this tab here. And when you turn it to on, it actually pulls that tab back. Oops. And then it allows it to spin freely. So when your steering wheel is like not on there, I gotta put that yellow plate back on there first. But basically, as you rotate this thing around with the key out, it'll catch one of those tabs, and that's your steering wheel lock. So this one is a pretty beefy little tab. I've actually seen them a lot thinner than this. So that's how that works. So this is the spring you're fighting against when you put the lock ring back in, and you want to actually mark this and take pictures and look at your video footage and all that. But based on the line here and the markings that are already on here, I took note of that and was able to, let's see, right there. This is where it goes. So this is going to be pretty hard to push back, and that is why we need to reinstall all this again. I want to make sure this ring actually locks in there. There we go. See, now it's actually kind of hard to put on. Now we got some good tension on it. Usually I use a little set of picks, like dental picks. They work great for this, but I just don't have any with me at the moment. Centered is nice, but it doesn't have to be super precise. We're literally pushing it on a shaft that's splined, so it's gonna go down. And now once we're down to exposing this area, we can push that pin one more section. Pop it into place there, and we're good. So now I can release this spring. Let's now take a look at that ring. Looks like that point is now pushing into that ring there. Alright, now we can just throw the wheel back on, and since there's no buttons or nothing important in here, it's literally just a rotating plate. I'm going to get a new wheel anyway, because I kind of bent this one up. But the alignment on this wheel is not terribly important. So that should be good. That's about how far it was sitting before. So now, let me throw the... where's this stupid... I got too much crap in here. Here it is. Alright. We'll reinstall this. Oh, we're already beeping the horn. That's a good sign. Alright, now to verify the repair, we'll just try a different position. Alright. I'd say that worked.